Hi, I'm Paul Friedman. I'm the founder of the Marriage Foundation. And this topic that we're going to do now, I love this topic. How do I get my spouse to want to make love to me? I love this topic because it gives me the ability to dig into more about what marriage is all about, you see. Because at the Marriage Foundation, we don't just fix this problem and then fix that problem. What a waste of time. I used to be a divorce mediator. Those people who went to couples counseling went with this laundry list of things that were bothering them. And they spent months and hundreds and thousands of dollars on counseling and got nowhere. What we do is we explain marriage. We give you the guidance. We put you on the path to happiness and love. And all your inner desires will be fulfilled when you understand what you're doing. If I were to give you the keys to a helicopter and you got into it and you managed to somehow start it and managed to get that rotor spinning, you would get yourself killed because it's complex. Marriage is complex. We never learn how to get married. We at the Marriage Foundation are all about teaching you how to be married and guiding you out of the hole you dug yourself into. So how do I get my spouse to want to make love to me? This is usually a man's issue, but not all the time. I'm telling you right now, not all the time. There are a lot of women also who are not getting, and we're talking about physical love here, let's be clear, who are not getting the intimate attention that they require physically. So, have you ever had a cat? If you feed a cat, if you pet a cat until it gets tired of you, that cat will purr, it'll be there, it loves you, it'll rub against your leg. But if you scold that cat, if you tease that cat, it'll run away from you. Human beings are not animals, but we still have this discernment. We understand where the goods are. Who is good to us? Who's not good to us? So this is the very first thing, is you need to analyze with an honest evaluation whether you're always treating your wife or your husband like you told them you would, like the queen or the king. Do you complain? If you ever complain, people say, well, sure, I complain sometimes. No good. Let me put it this way. In marriage, you go into what I call the sacred space of marriage. You could call it a bubble. No one else is in there. It's just two of you. And you can liken it to a cell, because in some cases your soulmate has become your cellmate. Even in a cell where people are rough and tough, they learn how to behave in a way where they don't ruffle the feathers of the other person, ever. But you don't want to live in a cell. You want to live in harmony, in happiness, in love. That's why you got married. So you can proactively be very loving, gentle, positive, sincere, truthful, complimentary. You cannot be complaining, criticizing, condemning, bitching, moaning, walking around with a frown, being upset over this and upset over that. Because those things, and you can make a list. You should make a list. What things do I do that if I were with me, I would be repulsed by? And then you'll know. That's the first step. I used to be a divorce mediator. It was over 22 years ago, and then I started, maybe 23 now, and then I started helping this couple get their marriage back together. They asked me to help them instead of end their marriage, to save their marriage. That was the first approach I had. I realized that we get married in order to be happy. And we get married to experience love. So what I did was I had a game plan. When I met with them, I said, let's make a list. What things do you do Not what does your spouse do? Wrong approach. What do I do that I know is not making my spouse happy, husband or wife? And we listed on my whiteboard, I was a divorce mediator. I didn't have this, so how does that make you feel kind of office? I had a whiteboard, I had a desk. People sat there, and you know what? When I started helping people, I kept that because it's so useful, because you should be healing your marriage in a mechanical way, a practical way, step by step. That's how we do it in our courses. I even laid out in my books, I have a couple books, same thing. It's very practical. It's easy to understand. It's simple. Always easy to do? No, but it's right there in front of you. So list those things that you know are not making your wife or your husband happy. And then make another list. What kind of things have I done in the past or could I do now that will make them happy? Not what do I do today so I have sex tonight. Don't do that. That is stupid. Really, it's stupid. We don't live in this bubble of time where what I do now is going to produce something in the next 15 minutes. Yes, it does, because of cause and effect. But your marriage is different. You want to build this. Let me put it another way. You have a vessel, okay? I called it a cell. I called it a sacred space. But it is a vessel. It's a closed container. If you put honey in it, sugar, maple syrup, whipped cream, chocolate chip ice cream, all these good things that I like, it's going to taste great in there. But what happens if you start putting in things like poop and criticism and complaining? It doesn't just stay in one little corner of the vessel, does it? It infiltrates all of my good ingredients that I like. And that's the problem that you have. So you need to, and here's how we do it in our courses. We change you. We can't just tell you, do this, do that, do this, because you won't be able to. This is one of the things that I discovered in the first week. You can't just change your behavior. It won't work. You'll just go back to your habits. You got to learn how to control the mind too. And we have techniques and all that stuff. I'm not trying to push the course. But you have to change who you are, you see? You cannot get a cat to bark or a dog to meow. You have to be this loving, kind human being. And you're driven now by your habits. You have to change those habits. You can do it. We have a process for that. When you change those habits, you all of a sudden are not the same person. Now look, I'm going to be square with you. In the 90s, I decided I was going to get rid of my anger. It was a problem. It really was. One time I was driving with my daughter. She was very young. It was a long time ago. She was like 5 or 6 years old. I pulled in front of a truck. He honked the horn. It just pissed me off. I jumped out of the car. I was going to drag the guy out of the truck. And my daughter goes, "Dad!" And that's how bad my anger was. And I decided in the 90s, by the way, that was in the 70s, I lived with my anger, I rationalized my anger, I excused my anger, and finally in the 90s I realized this is not good. And so I started working on it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get rid of it. I could hold it back for years. And it wasn't until I started helping this couple, and then this sew technique came to me, and I taught them the sew technique and myself at the same time, and within a short period of time, anger was eliminated from my consciousness almost entirely. Does it pop up from time to time? It does, but it doesn't stick around. It doesn't get the better of me, and it's rare. So you have to deal with the mind. You have to change all of these habits so that you become a different person. Then is your spouse going to want to make love to you? Yeah. Because you also learn how to communicate on this much higher plane. Because marriage is intended to be lived on a very high plane. It isn't like other venues. It isn't like other relationships. It is a spiritual, beautiful, amazing relationship, but you got to know how. I hope this has helped you. I really do. If it has, like the video. If you have a question for one of our counselors who are trained, and if you're a therapist, you might want to get trained by us too, or a clergy, then go to our website. Click Ask a Counselor. It's right there. It's free service. We have a lot of stuff that's free. All these videos are free. So you could subscribe and learn so much about marriage. We have articles galore. We are here for you. I hope we see you again. God bless you and take care. I'm Paul Friedman. Again, I'm the founder of the Marriage Foundation. Take care.